Gender equality and how it works in our nation has to be looked at. We have seen an improvement in the balance between the genders and the roles they are given and some of the advantages which are meted out to them in this modern day. We do remember that back in the past, women were not allowed to hold certain positions. And when they tried to do so, it seemed like the men wanted to bring them down and kept them from moving forward. But today, that is of the past, because we see more and more women taking up roles that they didn't used to hold than before. But to what extent is it really in the past? Because we are still seeing in some areas that some men are not allowing the women to take domineering positions. It just seems some have refused to allow the fact that the woman can be above the man when it comes to certain leadership roles. Not that we want to go into that, because this is not only about women, but we also want to look at men also. How are some of these advantages given to women going against the men? Because in some places, some men are not allowed certain advantages because they claim the women are the weaker ones. So, for example, a lady would be given a certain incentive or a certain bonus package which she would be given because she's a woman. But though the man may also deserve it, he may be forgotten. Gender equality is necessary for us to move forward in the nation. We cannot place much importance on one of the sexes and ignore the other. It has been very evident that now women are taking more positions that even were not ladylike. When you look around, even on our roads, you get to realize that mates, which are the driver's helps, who normally call for people to enter the vehicles and collect the monies from people, are most times males. But recently, we've been seeing females hold this position. You'll be shocked to see how these ladies are able to come out of the gates to call for passengers and actually are very energetic with their approach. The way the males will be able to jump onto the cars, they do the same. Though of course there are some exceptions. There are some ladies who are not able to jump and do all these, so the driver has to be more patient with them. But we have seen some girls who have been very, very, very energetic on the roads. And so we see that thing of the past where a certain job would be associated with for a man or a woman is of the past now. We guess maybe because people really are hungry for money, so nobody's looking at which job is for who anymore. Another thing we've also noticed is that apart from our parliamentary places, now in our offices, the women are taking the head roles. While this is not a surprise, there are some people who are not really happy about it. We spoke to someone who works in a company in Tama, and he told us that though he had no problem with a lady who was promoted to become his boss, ever since she became the boss, people have been against her. He explained that it wasn't only because she was a lady, but because they expected her to show some form of respect which they claim she didn't show. Some also explained that the woman was becoming too bossy and was making them feel like they were going to be subordinate to her forever, because of the fact that they were stronger than her in terms of physical strength. Some of them disregarded her authority, and there was a lot of trouble in that workplace. So what is the problem? Is it that the woman shouldn't be in that position, or is it just that some people are uncomfortable with a woman being in a position and ordering them about. But isn't that what that position is for? Isn't it for a person, whoever it is, whether male or female, to exercise authority? We have different minds about this, but we want the general public to pay very good attention to the fact that it doesn't matter whether it's a male or a female who is in a certain position. All that matters, and all that matters is if the person is doing that job properly and with passion. There are some people who have also expressed that in our traditional setting, women were not allowed to do certain things. And because we are still in this nation and we are still a traditional people, those types of traditions should still be kept. Now, I am not against tradition, neither am I against certain beliefs that any ethnicity or tribe may feel like. But I feel that at this point and in this modern day, there are some traditions that have to be either done away with or made to, fit into today's world. Of course, we don't do away with tradition because it's tradition and it's what our ancestors have been doing in the past. But we can't allow certain tradition to be a problem to us and to keep us from moving forward. Now, this is why I say so. Let's take, for example, a certain tradition that forbids a woman to be in a role above all the men in a certain place. And let's say all these men in a certain workplace are from this tribe or from this ethnicity, and a woman is promoted to become a boss over them. What would happen would be that they will not respect her like they are supposed to. They will look down on her, and it is going to cause a lot of trouble between her and them. Now, what happens when there's trouble between the boss and the workers? It's obvious. Productivity will be low. And this is how it's going to affect the nation. The number of hours we could have been using to be more productive, to be fruitful, and to do things that will benefit the nation as a whole will instead be used for quarrels, for arguments, and for trying to explain why somebody is not supposed to be in one position or the other. Apart from this, we have also seen certain people who have gone to the extreme extent of making sure that their bosses are fired because they are not happy about the person who is in power. People try mischievous things in the workplaces. Some people connive with others to set traps for people. There are people who even try poisoning people who are in leadership positions, and it is very, 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 very strange that you go to that extent to take somebody's life out because you are not happy with the position the person holds. This is backward thinking, and this is something that has to be addressed as a mental issue if still in this modern day people have that perception that if, for example, a lady is in such a position, she has to be removed. It is serious to note that people just form the unliking nature towards other people the moment they rise up. The moment someone is promoted or someone is given a certain favor, the other people around sometimes just don't get it and are displeased. Not because the person has offended them, not because the person is not even maybe fit for that position, not because the person will not be able to do the work, but just because the person is above them. And when the person is the opposite sex, it makes things worse sometimes. What is wrong? Why are some people refusing to allow the opposite sex to do what they can't do? Why should it always be so that this feeling of hate and dislike would enter a person after seeing the opposite sex being raised to a bigger position? We have to be careful as a nation with some of these things that we feel are nothing and are part of life. Because we may be just killing the next person who's going to be the one who push the nation to the next realm of glory. The thing is, even when you look in our own tradition, there have been women who have fought for the nation and who have done things that they were not supposed to do even in their time, not to talk about this day. If you've heard of Yaa Asantewaa, go and read about the story and find out who she was. You will find out that this was a woman, and I repeat, a woman who led a people to go fight war. And not only was she known for how brave she was and the fact that she was a lady leading an army of men, but she was also known for being courageous and winning battles. So the question I want to ask those who are so traditional inclined is that if such a lady, Yaa Asantewaa, who in the past led an army to fight against people and to defend her own people, why is it that today we wouldn't allow another woman to lead? Were those people not in the same tradition when they allowed Yaa Asantewaa to lead them and to fight for them? Were those same people not in this same nation, and did they not hold those same values we claim to be holding and upholding today? Were they not seeing those values when they decided that Yaa Asantewaa was going to lead them? Were they not seeing that those values that they claim to hold was going to be a problem to them when they allowed the woman to win battles for them? You see, there's one thing they might have noticed that some of you are not noticing today. It is not about the type of person who is leading the war, but it's about the person who win the war. Those people were at a point where they needed a courageous leader. They needed a leader who was willing to die. They needed a leader who did not care about what the other people thought, but was willing to do whatever was going to be done to keep her own people safe and to protect what belonged to them. And there was no other who could step up to that position but a woman. The question is, where were all the men at that time? Where were all the men who we know as brave, as warriors, and as valiant in their approaches? Where were they, and why could none of them take that position? This is for those who want to continue to hold to certain traditional values, which they wouldn't let go for one reason or the other, and are just using tradition as an excuse to go about their selfish desires. Because we believe tradition is not an excuse for inequality towards the gender of whoever is in a particular position. Now, going further, we also want to look at how come certain women are favored more than men in some places. Some may call it manners, but to what extent is it manners when a man may also need help but you decide to give it to a woman first? If it's gender equality, then it has to be equal and not only one place before the other. It's true that it's good manners to show a woman love and to give her the help that she needs. But if a man and a woman approach for a certain help to be done and you choose the woman over the man, then you are being gender biased. The best thing to do is to treat them both equally or give them some form of understanding that they are both going to get the same treatment, but not to ignore the male and give the female the attention she needs and then allow the male to go and come another time or just waste his time altogether. Whatever place you find yourself in, whether you are the one in power or you are the one under, do well to remember that gender equality is necessary if we are going to move forward. We have to throw away those feelings of dislike towards the opposite sex and then think about the ways we are going to rather help them and work with them to do something good not only for ourselves but for this land. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.